Hello everybody, Matt here, back again to take a closer look at the album Who's Last by, of course, The Who. This was actually supposed to be The Who's final album. It was recorded during their farewell tour of 1982, and as you can tell, that didn't really pan out. But out of it, we got this particular live album. It was recorded at Richfield Coliseum in Cleveland, Ohio, although there are parts that are from other cities in the US. You may not have heard this Who album because it was not part of any reissue. They released it back when it came out, and that's been pretty much it. The reason for that is because its sales were not very good and its reviews were even worse. There was one guy who said it's lackluster and lifeless, so it was not reviewed well. And, I gotta be honest, I had never heard of this album, and I know a lot of people who are Who fans, and they're like, I've never heard of that. And, kind of rightfully so. From what I understand, they weren't too happy with the mixing of this album, and it does kind of sound a little bit like just a very well-made bootleg, but, like I said, a very well-made bootleg. For me, I think that this particular album is one of The Who's best. I love this album. I might catch some flack for that, but I really don't care because this was one of those albums that, everybody kind of has albums from their childhood, and this one was mine. My spring of 2002, when I was in the 7th grade, is very closely tied to this album. I got this, my dad was taking my sister to a concert downtown, and me and him just kind of hung out in downtown Kansas City and waited for the concert to get over. This was something that I bought for $1, and I've always kind of tied it with that night because me and my dad and my sister had a really, really good time. And that was a really cool period in my life because I was just discovering art, and I was just starting to draw, and I was kind of figuring out where my place was in the world at that time, as much as a little 7th grader could. But it was really tied to this music, specifically the version of Baba O'Riley, which is on here. I remember loving the version that's on here and being so disappointed when I heard the studio track, because I think that this one is far, far superior. It does have a bit of a, in my opinion, a really good track listing. My Generation, Can't Explain, Substitute, Behind Blue Eyes, Baba O'Riley, Boris the Spider, Who Are You, Pinball Wizard, See Me, Feel Me, Love Reign Over Me, Long Live Rock, Won't Get Fooled Again, Dr. Jimmy, Magic Bus, Summertime Blues, and Twist and Shout. And it has some really good pictures with it too of The Who in the 80s on this particular tour. I love their stage setup here, which is pretty crazy. I'll go ahead and open this up for you here. So it was just a big Who logo, and they performed under the H, which is pretty cool. The packaging with the records themselves has some pretty cool photos as well of them. Like, my dad actually said this. He took one look at these pictures and said, "That's a rock and roll band." And I gotta be honest, that's very true. I don't think there was a live band out there that rocked quite as hard as The Who. And to be a lucky person to have seen them originally. I'm always very envious of those people who got to see not only this lineup with the 3 remaining members, but those who got to see it with Keith Moon. I think that would have been really cool. This is no Live at Leeds, and I don't want to discredit that album because that's a fantastic album, but this one here for me is just, I never understood the hatred for it. I never understood why people didn't like it. I love this album, and I again, gotta say this again, if you see this album, buy it. Who fan or not, you are gonna enjoy this. I played this for some of my friends who have been pretty big Who fans, and they really like it. They really seem to enjoy it. So don't listen to the critics, don't listen to the ratings, listen to it for yourself and enjoy this album. That's all I have to say about The Who's Last. I will see you guys next time.